Welcome back to Who Died Today USA channel. In the past few days, we have received somber news about the passing of extraordinary talents. Today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. Additionally, we will recap the stars we have recently lost. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Thank you. Gailard Sartain, a beloved and multi-talented actor who charmed generations with his humor, warmth, and versatility, passed away on June 19, 2025, at the age of 81 in his hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Known for his comic brilliance on Hee Haw and memorable roles in films like Mississippi Burning and Fried Green Tomatoes, Sartain left an indelible mark on American entertainment. Born in Tulsa in 1943, Sartain began his journey as a cameraman before creating the local sensation, the Uncanny Film Festival and Camp Meeting, where he donned the whimsical persona of Dr. Mazeppa Pompazoidi. His creative spark and magnetic presence soon caught the attention of a talent scout, catapulting him onto the national stage with Hee Haw, where he delighted audiences for nearly 2 decades. A master of transformation, Sartain shined as both a comedian and a character actor. He played roles ranging from the lovable cook Orville to the menacing sheriff in Mississippi Burning, proving his dramatic depth and earning critical respect beyond comedy. His career spanned over 30 years and included appearances in more than 40 films, including The Buddy Holly Story, Ali, and Elizabethtown. Sartain's collaboration with Jim Varney in the Ernest movies further cemented his status as a household name, particularly as Chuck in Ernest Goes to Camp, Ernest Saves Christmas, and Ernest Goes to Jail. Yet behind the laughter was an artist with a deep love for storytelling, acting, and visual art. He was also an accomplished illustrator, even designing an album cover for fellow Oklahoman Leon Russell. To those who knew him, Sartain was more than just a performer. He was a loving husband, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather. His wife of 36 years, Mary Jo Sartain, described his passing with a smile and sorrow, saying, "Actually, he died of silliness." Gailard Sartain's legacy is one of joy, creativity, and a refusal to be boxed in. Whether he was playing a quirky clerk or tackling a powerful dramatic role, he brought authenticity and heart to every performance. He made people laugh. He made them think. And most importantly, he made them feel. His voice and spirit live on in the countless characters he brought to life and in the hearts of those who loved him. Patrick Walden, the electrifying guitarist behind Babyshambles' gritty, chaotic brilliance, has passed away at the age of 46. His death, announced by the band in a heartfelt statement, has left the music world mourning the loss of a singular talent who once lit up stages with his raw sound and magnetic presence. Born with an instinct for melody and distortion, Patrick picked up the guitar at the age of 13 when his father gifted him both the instrument and a book of Eric Clapton's songs. That moment changed everything. He became obsessed, immersing himself in music so deeply that his schoolwork fell away. But from that obsession bloomed a genius. Best known as the lead guitarist for Babyshambles, Walden helped shape the band's debut album, Down in Albion, co-writing several of its standout tracks. His riffs, erratic, beautiful, and often heartbreaking, became the soul of songs like Fuck Forever and Kilimanjaro. His sound was not just accompaniment, it was atmosphere, attitude, and anguish, all rolled into 6 strings. Beyond Babyshambles, Patrick also played for James Blunt, showing his range and adaptability as a guitarist. But it was in the intimate chaos of underground gigs, sweaty venues, and unexpected comebacks that Walden truly lived. His fans remember him not only for his undeniable talent, but for the vulnerability he carried on and off stage. Despite personal struggles, including battles with substance abuse, Patrick's dedication to music remained unwavering. After leaving Babyshambles in 2006, he sought to heal, stepping away from the scene to rebuild. Still, he never lost his musical spark, and his occasional returns to the stage were always met with open arms and hopeful cheers. Patrick's sudden passing has shocked and saddened fans, fellow musicians, and friends alike. "Absolute genius on the guitar," one fan wrote. "Babyshambles were at their peak with Pat, a genuine, lovely guy." Patrick Walden wasn't just a guitarist. He was a sound, a presence, a story. His music will continue to echo through headphones, concert halls, and memories. And though he's gone too soon, his spirit lives on in every strummed chord, every distorted howl, and every listener who found truth in his chaos. Rest in power, Patrick. You were and always will be unforgettable. Breaking news. Barbara Eden once broke down in tears when a casting director told her she was just not Hollywood. It was not her acting, not her voice, not her charisma that was the problem. It was her body. She lacked what they called the right proportions, the exaggerated curves expected of a leading lady in mid-century Hollywood. For a young woman in her early 20s, chasing a dream with hope in her heart, that judgment could have shattered everything. But it did not. Instead, Barbara walked back into that same studio less than a year later, not in tears, but in triumph. They had seen something new, something real. She was offered a contract. This was not the last time Barbara Eden would be underestimated, nor the last time she would rise anyway. Born in 1931 in Tucson, Arizona, and raised in San Francisco during the Great Depression, Barbara came from modest beginnings. Her parents divorced when she was very young, and her mother, a single parent, worked tirelessly to raise Barbara and her siblings. It was a tough world, but even in those early years, Barbara found magic in music. She sang in church choirs and studied classical voice, dreaming at first of becoming an opera singer. Hollywood came later. After studying acting and voice at the City College of San Francisco and performing in local productions, Barbara moved to Los Angeles with one suitcase, a portfolio of headshots, and no guarantees. She worked small roles, chorus parts, and bit appearances on television shows. She had the look, sweet but striking, and the timing for comedy that would soon set her apart. Her early years were filled with steady but unremarkable work, guest appearances on I Love Lucy, Perry Mason, and Gunsmoke. Casting directors began to remember her, not for bombshell curves, but for something else: warmth, humor, a voice that felt like comfort. Then came 1965, the year Barbara Eden became a household name. She was cast as the lead in a new NBC sitcom called I Dream of Jeannie. The premise was whimsical. A 2,000-year-old genie falls in love with the astronaut who frees her from a bottle, but the result was cultural lightning. With her blonde ponytail, mischievous eyes, and iconic pink costume, Barbara lit up the screen like no one else. America fell in love. Jeannie was innocent, playful, loyal, and a little bit rebellious, and Barbara brought her to life with a subtle emotional depth that made her more than just a magical character. She became an emblem of charm and mystery, a figure who was equal parts fantasy and sincerity. Behind the scenes, though, Barbara was navigating challenges that went far beyond camera angles and laugh tracks. Network censors restricted her costume. Her navel was not allowed to be shown on screen. Writers often framed her character around the desires of her male co-star. And as the show gained popularity, Barbara faced the double-edged sword of fame. She was loved for Jeannie, but it became increasingly hard to be seen as anything else. She tried to break away. After the show ended in 1970, she took roles that were edgier, more serious, or drastically different from the whimsical Jeannie. She starred in the feature film Harper Valley PTA, based on the hit song, which became a surprise box office success. She took on stage work and appeared in dramatic made-for-TV movies. But no matter what she did, audiences continued to associate her with Jeannie. For a time, that haunted her. Barbara never lashed out about it publicly. Instead, she embraced it, later saying, "If you're lucky enough to be remembered for something, you're lucky enough." Still, the fight to be seen fully, as an actress, a woman, a human being, was one she fought quietly for decades. In her personal life, Barbara endured storms that would have sent lesser spirits into hiding. She was married 3 times, including a long union with actor Michael Ansara. Their marriage brought her a son, Matthew, and for many years, they were considered one of the most grounded couples in Hollywood. But life behind closed doors was more complicated. The marriage ended in divorce in 1974, and Barbara would later speak honestly about the emotional toll it took. She remarried, divorced again, and finally found lasting companionship with real estate developer John Eichholz, whom she married in 1991. Yet the most profound pain came not from romantic heartbreak, but from a mother's grief. In 2001, Barbara lost her only child, Matthew. He had struggled in private with issues she would never sensationalize or exploit. His passing left a silence in her heart that no applause could fill. And yet, Barbara did not crumble. She grieved, yes, but she also spoke out, gently, courageously, about the pain of parents who carry the unimaginable. She showed the world that grief is not something to hide, but something to hold. Through it all, Barbara Eden kept moving forward. She continued to act, to appear at fan conventions, to sign autographs for fans who remembered her from childhood. She wrote a memoir, Jeannie Out of the Bottle, which became a New York Times bestseller, not just because of its fame appeal, but because of its honesty. And then, there is her health. At 93, Barbara is not merely surviving, she is thriving. She walks daily. She lifts small weights to keep her bones strong. She exercises regularly and eats with balance. She loves sweets, but keeps them in moderation. She laughs. She travels. She answers questions from fans with wit and sparkle. She has spoken about how fitness has helped her maintain energy and mood. During the pandemic, when many her age stayed home in fear, Barbara adapted. She did cycling at home, kept in touch with friends virtually, and never lost her sense of purpose. "I do not think about age," she said in a recent interview. "I think about what I want to do next." That mindset, curious, forward-looking, undeterred by numbers on a birth certificate, is what makes Barbara Eden so remarkable. Her career has spanned over 7 decades. She has worked with Elvis Presley, Lucille Ball, and Bob Hope. She has sung, danced, acted, written, and performed across generations. She has seen the tides of Hollywood change around her, but never let it wash her away. Today, Barbara Eden remains one of the last living stars from television's golden age. Yet, she does not live in the past. Her light continues to reach new audiences through reruns, books, and her timeless presence on stage. So we return to the question we asked at the beginning. When you think of Barbara Eden, is it just the woman in pink satin blinking her way through sitcom magic? Or is it the young girl told she was not enough, who became everything anyway? Is it the mother who kept going, the widow who found love again, the icon who still walks proudly among us at 93? Let us know in the comments. Was there a moment in her story that moved you? A lesson that stayed with you? Or a memory of watching Jeannie that now means something more? If her journey has touched your heart, please like and share this tribute to a woman whose real magic was not in crossing her arms and nodding her head, but in refusing to let the world define her. Barbara Eden is still here, still shining, and still reminding us all, resilience is the greatest magic of all. Sly Stone, the visionary frontman of Sly and the Family Stone, passed away on June 9th at the age of 82, following a long struggle with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, and other health complications. He died peacefully, surrounded by his 3 children and close family, leaving behind a legacy that reshaped American music and culture. Born Sylvester Stewart in 1943, Sly grew up singing gospel in church alongside his siblings, later pioneering a band that deliberately included black and white members, men and women playing instruments, a revolutionary vision for the time. Sly and the Family Stone burst onto the scene in the late 1960s with an electric blend of funk, soul, rock, and psychedelic sounds. From chart toppers like Dance to the Music, Everyday People, and Thank You, Verlaten me be myself again, to their explosive performance at Woodstock, Sly pushed musical boundaries and championed unity through his art. His 1969 album, Stand, marked the peak of his career, followed by the introspective masterpiece, There's a Riot Going On, which reflected both societal turmoil and his personal struggles. Though his heavy drug use in the early 1970s led to instability, missed concerts, band tensions, and eventual breakup, his genius was never in doubt. In 1993, Sly and the Family Stone were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a testament to their groundbreaking impact. Despite battles with addiction and years out of the spotlight, including a quiet period of reinvention and healing, Sly ultimately found clarity. He entered rehab in 1996 and embraced sobriety in 2019 after 4 hospitalizations, a turning point toward stability and family life. He even completed a memoir and screenplay about his extraordinary journey. His creative influence lives on, not only in the musicians he inspired, from funk, hip-hop, and rock artists to modern producers, but in the message at the heart of his work, unity through music. As his family noted, his extraordinary musical legacy will continue to resonate and inspire for generations to come. Sly Stone will be remembered not just as a musical innovator, but as a bold trailblazer who brought together voices across racial and genre divides. His music played out like a call for harmony, a call that will always echo. Phil Robertson, the beloved patriarch of the Robertson family and founder of the Duck Commander legacy, passed away at the age of 79, surrounded by those he loved most. Though he had been facing the challenges of Alzheimer's and declining health in recent months, Phil remained, until the very end, a pillar of strength, faith, and perseverance. Born in the backwoods of Louisiana in 1946, Phil's early life was marked by simplicity and hard work. Raised in a home without electricity or indoor plumbing, he learned early the value of resilience. He later became a standout football player at Louisiana Tech, but ultimately chose a different path, one grounded in his love of nature and commitment to family. In 1972, Phil followed his calling and created the now iconic Duck Commander Duck Call, a humble invention that sparked a business empire. His family-run company blossomed into a household name, and in 2012, America welcomed the Robertsons into their homes through the reality television phenomenon Duck Dynasty. With his long beard, camo clothes, and unshakable faith, Phil quickly became a symbol of tradition, conviction, and authenticity. But his legacy goes far beyond business or fame. Phil's greatest gift was the way he lived his values, unapologetically honest, fiercely loyal, and deeply devoted to his wife, Kay, and their children and grandchildren. His love for God was evident in every word he spoke, every lesson he shared, and every life he touched. Even as Alzheimer's slowly dimmed his physical strength, Phil's spirit remained luminous. One of the last things he said to his granddaughter was, "Full strength ahead." It was a fitting reminder of the way he lived, boldly, with heart and unwavering hope. Phil Robertson leaves behind more than a legacy of innovation and entertainment. He leaves behind a testimony of faith, family, and endurance. Though he is no longer with us in body, his presence lingers in the love he sowed, the prayers he led, and the memories he created. His journey now continues in peace, and we carry his light forward. Nino Tempo, a gifted saxophonist and cherished voice of 1960s pop, passed away at the age of 90 in his West Hollywood home on April 10th. From a tender age, Nino was destined for music. As a child prodigy, he sang with Benny Goodman's orchestra at just 7 years old, an early sign of a lifelong journey in song and sound. Nino's remarkable career wove together diverse musical worlds. He began as a session player, laying down soulful saxophone tracks for legends like Bobby Darin and Frank Sinatra. Yet it was his collaboration with his sister, April Stevens, that touched millions. Their warm, Grammy-winning hit, Deep Purple, soared to the top of the charts in 1963. The song, a beautifully tender spoken and sung duet, was an accidental masterpiece, recorded in just 14 minutes, yet beloved for generations. Though the British invasion arrived soon after, eclipsing much of the duo's fame, that one luminous moment remains a touchstone of 1960s nostalgia. Beyond pop, Nino ventured into funk with his band, Nino Tempo and Fifth Ave. Sax, exploring new rhythms and styles with enthusiasm. And when the 1990s rolled in, he returned to jazz, releasing heartfelt saxophone albums that echoed his deep connection to melody and to memory. Behind the spotlight was a man who embodied dedication and warmth. Family and friends remember him not merely for his musical gifts, but for his quiet perfectionism, willing to play the same note over and over until it carried the emotion he meant to convey. His saxophone spoke not just in notes, but in sincerity. Nino Tempo leaves a rich legacy, a life threaded through jazz clubs and pop radio, studio sessions and private rehearsals. He showed us the power of harmonies shared between siblings and the enduring beauty of soulful expression. Though he is no longer with us, his music remains, a gentle echo of a life lived in melody and heart. Rick Buckler, the heartbeat behind one of Britain's most electrifying rock bands, passed away at the age of 69 in his hometown of Woking, Surrey, following a short illness, surrounded by his family. As the drummer for The Jam, alongside Paul Weller and Bruce Foxton, Rick helped fuel a string of unforgettable hits like Going Underground, Town Called Malice, and That's Entertainment. From their debut in 1972 to their final chart toppers in the early 80s, The Jam captured the spirit of youth and the pulse of rebellion, and Rick's dynamic rhythms carried them all the way. Rick's journey from small club stages to stadium tours reads like a story of pure passion and determination. He and his bandmates played in countless pubs and working men's clubs, dreaming of a record deal, and then stepping on stage to roaring crowds night after night. His fluid, inventive drumming became the anchor that grounded the band's explosive energy, shaping the very essence of their sound. Paul Weller reflected on their shared path, from early days of youthful ambition to achieving a legacy that endures through generations. Bruce Foxton echoed the sentiment, acknowledging Rick not just as a remarkable drummer, but as a genuinely good man whose friendship and presence enriched their lives off stage as well. But Rick's talents extended far beyond music. He found solace and craftsmanship in designing and restoring furniture, and later explored writing, clearly driven by the same creativity and attention to detail he brought to those drum fills. Even when health concerns led him to step back from touring, his love of creation, family, and storytelling remained at the forefront. For countless fans, Rick Buckler's rhythms were the soundtrack of their youth. His beats captured the restlessness, hope, and defiant joy of a generation. And while the drums may now be silent, the echo of his music lives on. He leaves behind a legacy not just of chart successes, but of authenticity, artistry, and heart. To those who knew him, he was husband, father, grandfather, friend, mentor, and irrevocably part of rock's vibrant history. Rick Buckler's life reminds us of music's power to connect, to move, and to carry forward, beat by unforgettable beat. Diane Delano, the beloved character actress known for her commanding presence and sharp comedic timing, passed away on December 13, 2024, at the age of 67 after a brief illness. She died peacefully at her home in Sherman Oaks, California, surrounded by those who cherished her. Her agent, Dennis Sevier, and close friend Stepfanie Kramer confirmed her passing, describing her as full of life and one of a kind. Delano's career spanned more than 4 decades across television, film, and voice acting. She became a household name through her memorable role as Officer Barbara Szymanski in Northern Exposure, where her chemistry with Barry Corbin's character added both humor and heart to the series. She later reached a new generation of fans as the tough, hilariously intimidating science teacher Bobby Glass on Ryan Murphy's Popular, a performance that became a cult favorite. From the beginning, Delano seemed destined for a life in show business. Born in Los Angeles on January 29, 1957, she was surrounded by family members with deep ties to the entertainment industry. Her early visits to film sets left a lasting impression and ignited a passion that led her to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, West. By age 6, she was already acting, and she never looked back. Her versatility was unmatched. Diane could move seamlessly between drama and comedy, film and television. She portrayed a range of roles, from stern cops to soulful sisters, leaving a distinct mark each time. She shone in projects like Heart Like a Wheel, A Mighty Wind, The Wicker Man, Miracle Mile, and The Lady Killers. She also brought to life animated heroes like Big Barda, Batman, the Brave and the Bold, and Panther, Teen Titans, displaying her dynamic vocal talent. Delano's peers and audiences admired her not only for her performances, but for her authenticity, wit, and generosity of spirit. In 2019, she won the Best Ensemble Award for Relish at the Los Angeles Film Awards and was recognized by the Indie Series Awards for her moving work in fumbling through the pieces. Her final performance in the musical comedy Paradise, A Town of Sinners and Saints, was a fitting swan song, full of humor, charm, and fearless energy. Diane Delano's legacy is one of courage, creativity, and unapologetic boldness. She lived out loud, acted with conviction, and made every room brighter with her presence. In a world of fleeting fame, she stood tall, grounded, genuine, and unforgettable. In the great tapestry of American music, few threads shimmer as poignantly as the one woven by Arthur Hamilton. The man whose pen carved out one of the most devastating love songs in history, Cry Me a River, has passed away at the age of 98. His death, though peaceful, marks the end of an era for a generation who first learned about heartbreak through his haunting lyrics. Born in Seattle in 1926 and raised in the golden light of Los Angeles, Arthur Hamilton didn't just write songs. He distilled emotion into melody. With a family steeped in music, it was perhaps destiny that young Arthur would one day write a line that echoed across time. I cried a river over you. Cry Me a River began life in Hollywood shadows, originally written for a film only to be cut before its debut. But fate had other plans. Julie London, Hamilton's high school friend and former wife of Jack Webb, gave the song its wings in 1955. Her sultry, breathy rendition climbed to number 9 on the Billboard charts, transforming heartbreak into art and elevating Hamilton into the pantheon of timeless songwriters. But his legacy doesn't rest on one song alone. Hamilton wrote Sing a Rainbow, He Needs Me, and the Oscar-nominated Till Love Touches Your Life. His music spanned decades, genres, and moods, from film scores to television themes, from torch ballads to Broadway dreams. He was the quiet architect behind some of the most emotionally resonant compositions of the 20th century. What set Hamilton apart was his elegant restraint. His lyrics never shouted. They whispered, simmered, ached. There was no sentimentality in his heartbreak, only raw truth. Michael Bublé once described Cry Me a River as having a darkness that made it unforgettable. And he was right. Hamilton gave voice to the anger and ache that lovers seldom confess aloud. Even in his later years, Hamilton remained a mentor and collaborator. He worked with Michael Feinstein and continued to advocate for the Great American Songbook. He was not just a composer, he was a curator of feeling, a craftsman of truth. Arthur Hamilton died at home in Los Angeles, leaving behind his wife Joyce and daughter Claudia. But he also leaves something far greater, a legacy of songs that will outlive heartbreak itself. In every smoky lounge, every broken-hearted playlist, every whispered line of "You can cry me a river," his voice endures. He made the world weep in melody, and for that, the world will always remember him. Terry Louise Fisher was never content with just breaking barriers. She redefined them. A powerhouse who journeyed from the courtroom to the writer's room, Fisher passed away peacefully in her sleep on June 11, 2025, in Laguna Hills, California, after a long illness. She was 79. Best known as the co-creator of the landmark legal drama L.A. Law, Fisher brought sharp wit, emotional depth, and feminist insight into the world of television, forever altering how women and professionals were portrayed on screen. Her storytelling wasn't just entertainment, it was empowerment. Born in Chicago in 1946 and later raised in Los Angeles, Fisher blazed her path early. After graduating from UCLA Law School in 1968, she served in the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office before moving into entertainment law. Yet it was the pull of narrative, of writing characters as complex as any case file, that led her to abandon the courtroom for Hollywood. Her writing career launched with novels like A Class Act and Good Behavior, before she transitioned into television with Cagney and Lacey, one of the first shows to put strong, multi-dimensional female leads at its core. But it was L.A. Law, co-created with Stephen Bocco, that cemented her place in TV history. The show won her a Primetime Emmy and reshaped the landscape of legal dramas, marrying ethical quandaries with riveting human stories. Even as she broke ground, Fisher never shied away from confrontation. A high-profile legal dispute with Bocco and 20th Century Fox in 1988 led to her early departure from L.A. Law. Yet even in adversity, she remained a vocal advocate for women in the industry, determined to show that the Old Boys Club had met its match. She would go on to co-create Hooperman and develop series like 2000 Malibu Road, starring a young Drew Barrymore. Her sharp pen, fierce intellect, and commitment to character-driven drama left an indelible mark on every show she touched. Terry Louise Fisher was more than a writer. She was a pioneer whose stories carved space for women's voices on television. She is survived by her loved ones, Dale Gordon, Ken Rosen, Charlie Rosen, and Sharon Rosen, and by the generations of writers and viewers who owe her a debt of gratitude. She didn't just write strong women, she was one. Ena Hartman, a trailblazing black actress who broke barriers in Hollywood during a time of limited opportunity, passed away on April 16, 2025, at her home in Van Nuys, California. She was 93 and died of natural causes, surrounded by family. Hartman's legacy is defined not only by the roles she played, but by the doors she opened. A standout in the 1970-71 cop drama Dan August, she portrayed Katie Grant, a no-nonsense police dispatcher opposite Burt Reynolds, becoming one of the first black actresses to secure a recurring television role. Her commanding presence and unshakable dignity on screen left an imprint on a generation of viewers. Her film career included performances in cult classics like Terminal Island, 1973, where she starred alongside Tom Selleck and Phyllis Davis, and blockbusters such as Airport, 1970, and Our Man Flint, 1966. Though she came close to iconic roles, nearly being cast as Lieutenant Uhura on Star Trek and a nun in Elvis Presley's Change of Habit, Hartman still left her mark, appearing in Star Trek's The Corbomite Maneuver, and earning praise for every role she took on. Born Gerthaline Henry to sharecroppers in Arkansas in 1932, Hartman's path to stardom was anything but ordinary. She dropped out of school, opened her own restaurant, and eventually moved to New York City, where she became a successful model and studied acting under theatrical legends. Her talent won her a groundbreaking 5-year contract with NBC, the first for a black actor, launching a career that would span over a decade of film and television roles. Despite the limitations of the era, Hartman's career was one of quiet resilience and uncelebrated firsts. She walked red carpets, including as Sidney Poitier's guest at the 1964 Oscars, and even served as the honorary mayor of Universal City in 1968, unthinkable honors for a black woman in that time. Her passing marks the end of an era for television history, but her influence endures. Ena Hartman showed that grace, ambition, and talent could carve a path where none existed. She is survived by her son Douglas, extended family, and generations of women in entertainment who stand on the foundation she helped build. Hollywood has lost one of its most daring and influential creative forces. Jason Constantine, co-president of Lionsgate's Motion Picture Group and a powerhouse behind some of the most successful and genre-defining films of the past 2 decades, passed away on June 3, 2025, at the age of 55 after a long battle with brain cancer. From the moment he joined Lionsgate over 25 years ago, Constantine's instincts were nothing short of prophetic. He was a key figure in launching blockbuster franchises like John Wick and Saw, spotting the potential of a short concept film and turning it into a multi-billion-dollar phenomenon. His fingerprints are on some of Lionsgate's most memorable releases, from Crash, Precious, and Knives Out, to The Expendables, The Hitman's Bodyguard, and Cabin in the Woods. But beyond the box office numbers and accolades, Constantine was admired for his bold spirit, creative integrity, and unwavering belief in fresh voices and risky ideas. He championed original stories when it wasn't the norm, elevating both art and industry. Filmmakers like James Wan, who credited Constantine for transforming Saw from a student project into a franchise juggernaut, called him a truly great friend and human being. Born in California, Constantine earned degrees from Princeton University and Loyola Marymount before pursuing filmmaking. He won early recognition for his student short Ashes, which took home the Producers Guild of America Award. Yet it was his work at Lionsgate that would define his legacy, a career driven by passion, innovation, and heart. Jason was also known for his warmth outside the studio. His elaborate holiday train village at Christmas became a neighborhood tradition, a symbol of his generosity and joy. He is survived by his wife, Kristen, and their 3 sons, Lucas, Xander, and Nicholas. Lionsgate and Hollywood at large mourn not only a brilliant executive, but a deeply beloved man who forever changed the landscape of modern cinema. Bob Leml, the steadfast visionary who helped shape Los Angeles' indie and foreign film landscape through his family-run Leml Theaters, has passed away at the age of 89. He died on January 9, 2025, in Santa Monica after suffering a fall at home in late December. Born in Paris in 1935 to Jewish parents fleeing Nazi Germany, Bob immigrated to the U.S. in 1938. From those early roots in adversity, he would go on to carry the torch of a cinematic legacy started by his father Max and Uncle Kurt, themselves relatives of Carl Leml, founder of Universal Pictures. From the age of 14, Bob was immersed in the family business, beginning with humble work at the Highland Park Theater. After completing his MBA at UCLA and a stint in banking, he joined the Leml theaters full-time in the early 1960s. Over the next 4 decades, he expanded the company's reach and elevated its role in championing global cinema and independent voices in Los Angeles. Under Bob's leadership, Leml theaters became synonymous with intimate, carefully curated film experiences. He believed in hands-on engagement with every release, cultivating personal relationships with filmmakers and audiences alike. He was instrumental in redefining the art house, not just as a type of theater, but as a cultural mission. Though he officially retired in 2004, handing over the reins to his son Greg, Bob remained a guiding force at the company well into the 2020s. His passion for community and culture extended beyond cinema. In 2000, he and Greg founded the Leml Charitable Foundation, which supports local nonprofits focused on social justice, the environment, and public welfare. For his lifelong contributions, Bob was named a Chevalier des Arts et des Lettres by the French government, an honor he shared with his father. Bob Leml is survived by his wife Michelle and his large, loving family, including 9 children and 13 grandchildren. Through the screens of Leml theaters and the stories they continue to share, his legacy of compassion, cultural curiosity, and cinematic passion lives on. Jim Tauber, a deeply respected figure in the entertainment industry whose career spanned pivotal roles at major studios and whose leadership helped bring award-winning films to life, passed away on January 24, 2025, from complications related to multiple myeloma. He was 74. A Chicago native who once witnessed Jimi Hendrix perform at Woodstock, Tauber's life was as eclectic and passionate as the films he championed. He began his film career in the legal and acquisitions departments of Columbia TriStar Pictures, where he played a role in acquiring influential works like Sex, Lies, and Videotape, and The Water Dance. He rose through the ranks to become president and COO of Propaganda Films, producing titles like Wild at Heart and Being John Malkovich, and co-founding Gramercy Pictures. Later, as EVP of Acquisitions and Co-Productions at 20th Century Fox, and then at Anonymous Content, Tauber brought his sharp eye and keen business acumen to a generation of independent storytelling. In 2005, Tauber took the helm at Sidney Kimmel Entertainment, SKE, as president, overseeing nearly 30 productions during his decade-long tenure. Under his leadership, SKE delivered acclaimed films such as Hell or High Water, Lars and the Real Girl, The Place Beyond the Pines, and The Kite Runner. His calm, wry humor and deep love for storytelling made him both a trusted executive and a cherished collaborator. After retiring in 2015, Tauber embraced a new chapter. He became a licensed psychotherapist and opened a joint practice with his wife, Laura Newman. Together, they also founded Lefty's Coffee in Los Olivos, a community-centered cafe focused on sustainability and ethical sourcing, a testament to his enduring commitment to doing good, not just well. Jim Tauber is survived by his wife Laura, daughters Jay Lucy, Dixie, and Zazu, and his sister Joni. A private funeral will be held, with a celebration of life planned at a later time. Tauber's legacy lives on in the films he helped bring to audiences and in the countless people, in Hollywood and beyond, whose lives he enriched through his compassion, vision, and unwavering authenticity. Breaking news. Barbara Mandrel was the queen of country music, a dazzling television star, and a trailblazer in an industry that rarely made room for women to lead. But behind the sequins, behind the spotlight, Barbara Mandrel faced a moment that could have ended everything. Today, we explore the life and legacy of a woman whose fame was nearly silenced by tragedy, but who fought her way back with strength, faith, and extraordinary grace. What happened after the crash? How did it change her music, her priorities, and her very sense of self? Welcome to Who Died Today USA. In today's episode, we turn our focus to Barbara Mandrel, a name that once lit up marquees across America, now often spoken with reverence and awe. Known for her powerhouse vocals, her multi-instrumental talents, and her radiant stage presence, Mandrel ruled the charts in the late 1970s and early 1980s. She was not just country cool, she was country bold. But her journey, as we will see, was anything but easy. Barbara Ann Mandrel was born on December 25, 1948, in Houston, Texas. By age 11, she was performing steel guitar on national television. As a teenager, she toured with Johnny Cash and Patsy Cline. She played the saxophone, accordion, banjo, and more. From the beginning, Barbara was not just a singer, she was a prodigy. In the 1970s, she exploded onto the mainstream country scene with hits like Sleeping Single in a Double Bed and If Loving You Is Wrong, I Don't Want to Be Right. Her music pushed boundaries. She brought soul into country, and her audiences loved it. But Barbara did more than dominate the airwaves. She brought country music into America's living rooms with her groundbreaking TV variety show, Barbara Mandrel and the Mandrel Sisters. With wit, sparkle, and flawless showmanship, she turned Saturday nights into country magic. It was a cultural milestone, one of the first major network shows to feature a woman as host, headliner, and creative force. Her efforts did not go unnoticed. She won 2 Grammy Awards, was named CMA Entertainer of the Year 2 years in a row, and received more than 75 major awards during her career. She was the first woman to win the CMA's top honor twice, and the only one to do so in consecutive years. But just when everything seemed unstoppable, life changed in a heartbeat. On September 11, 1984, Barbara was driving with her 2 children near her home in Hendersonville, Tennessee, when another car crossed the center line and collided head-on with her vehicle. The driver of the other car did not survive. Barbara, meanwhile, was left with a shattered leg, multiple broken ribs, and a traumatic brain injury that would take years to fully understand. In an instant, the music stopped. The spotlight faded. And Barbara Mandrel was no longer on stage, but in a hospital room, wondering if she would ever walk the same, think the same, or sing the same again. The accident changed everything. Barbara spent months in physical therapy, relearning how to walk, talk, and remember. She described the experience in her memoir as terrifying. She struggled with short-term memory loss and emotional instability, effects of the brain trauma that were as invisible as they were devastating. She disappeared from public life, focusing on her recovery and her family. The woman who had once commanded crowds now found herself uncertain, vulnerable, and painfully human. But she did not give up. 3 years later, Barbara made a quiet return. She released her autobiography, Get to the Heart, My Story, which became a national bestseller. She appeared in a TV movie based on her own life. Her voice, softer now, carried even more meaning. She did not hide her struggle. She shared it. In 1997, at the height of her maturity as a performer, she made a stunning announcement. She was retiring from music. No farewell tour, no last concert, just a graceful exit. I gave it everything I had, she said. And now, I want to give the rest of myself to the people who love me most. Since then, Barbara has largely stepped away from the spotlight. She lives quietly in Nashville with her family, appearing only occasionally, most recently for her 50th anniversary with the Grand Ole Opry in 2022. Fans were stunned to see her again, smiling, radiant, and gracious as ever. Unlike many stars of her era, Barbara has not been followed by scandal or controversy. She has never chased attention or tried to reclaim the fame she once held. Instead, she has embraced peace. Her health, though once in jeopardy, is now strong. She credits faith, family, and discipline for her recovery. While she rarely gives interviews, those who meet her today describe a woman who is as mentally sharp as ever, who remembers her past with warmth, but lives fully in the present. She does not perform anymore, but her music lives on through vinyl, digital reissues, and the memories of millions who saw her light up a stage like no one else. So now we ask you, when you think of Barbara Mandrel, do you think of the rhinestones and spotlights? Or do you think of the woman behind them, the fighter, the survivor, the mother who stepped away when she knew the curtain needed to close? Let us know in the comments. Which Barbara Mandrel do you remember most? The one who played a dozen instruments? The one who made you laugh on Saturday nights? Or the one who quietly walked away, only to inspire even more? And if her story moved you, please like and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more tributes to the lives and legacies of the stars who shaped our world. Thank you for joining us as we honor Barbara Mandrel, not just a legend of country music, but a symbol of resilience, grace, and extraordinary courage.